What if cutting your gas bill by 30% had nothing to do with the car you drive, the fuel you buy, or any device you install? What if it came down entirely to a handful of habits that most American drivers have never been taught? The EPA and the Department of Energy have studied fuel-efficient driving extensively, and their data is consistent. How you drive has more impact on your fuel economy than almost any other variable short of the vehicle itself. Aggressive driving alone can lower your gas mileage by 10 to 40% depending on conditions. That's not a small number. For someone spending $200 a month on gas, that's $20 to $80 per month going straight to waste. Today I'm going to walk you through 14 specific habits backed by real data from the EPA, the DOE, and actual fleet studies that can dramatically reduce what you're spending at the pump. And I'm saving the single biggest one for last, because it's the habit that most people never think to question. Let's get into it. Number 14 is about where your eyes are when you drive. Most drivers believe they're paying attention to the road, and in a basic sense, they are. But there's a difference between reactive driving and anticipatory driving, and that difference has a direct and measurable impact on fuel consumption. Reactive driving means you're watching the car directly in front of you and responding to what it does. The car brakes, you brake. The light turns red 50 feet ahead, you finally lift off the gas. This sounds normal because it is normal. It's how most people drive. But every time you react late, you've already paid for the kinetic energy that moves your car forward, and you're about to throw it away as heat in your brakes. Anticipatory driving means training yourself to look much further ahead, 3, 4, 500 feet down the road. Watch the traffic lights in the distance. Notice when brake lights start showing up 4 or 5 cars ahead. Look at what's happening at the intersection you're approaching, not just the bumper in front of you. When you see a red light or slowing traffic well in advance, simply lift your foot off the gas early and let the car decelerate naturally. In many cases, the light changes or traffic clears before you even reach it, and you've maintained your momentum without spending a drop of extra fuel. The DOT has documented that it takes up to 20% more fuel to accelerate from a full stop than from even just 5 miles per hour. Every time you keep the car rolling, instead of coming to a complete stop, you're banking that efficiency difference. Fleet training programs that teach this single habit, anticipatory driving, consistently report fuel savings of 7 to 12% from this change alone. Number 13 is constant speed. The enemy of fuel economy isn't speed itself, it's speed variation. Every time you accelerate, your engine injects extra fuel to generate the energy that moves the car forward. Every time you brake, that energy disappears as heat. A car holding a steady 60 miles per hour uses significantly less fuel per mile than a car fluctuating between 55 and 70 miles per hour, even if the average is the same. This is physics, not opinion. The key in practice is smoothness. On the highway, resist the urge to drift faster when traffic clears, then slow back down. Keep your foot steady. When approaching a gentle uphill grade, let the car lose a few mph naturally, rather than pressing harder to maintain exact speed. When the road levels, the car recovers on its own. When going downhill, ease off completely and let gravity do the work. The goal is the fewest possible throttle inputs per mile. Number 12 is about acceleration. And this one surprises people because the conventional wisdom is completely backwards. Most drivers assume that accelerating as slowly as possible saves the most fuel. In practice, that's often not true. When you accelerate too slowly, creeping away from a green light over 25 or 30 seconds, the engine spends a longer time in lower PM, high load conditions where its thermal efficiency is poor. It's working hard to move the car, but doing so in a range where it converts fuel to motion inefficiently. The more efficient approach is smooth but purposeful acceleration, getting to your cruising speed in a reasonable time, then easing off and maintaining. The goal is to spend as little time as possible in the acceleration phase, and as much time as possible in the efficient cruise phase. This isn't aggressive driving, it's efficient driving. Get to speed smoothly and promptly, then relax. Number 11 is RPM awareness. Every engine has a range where it operates at peak efficiency. Below that range, the engine is laboring under load at low RPM, which wastes fuel and puts stress on the drivetrain. Above that range, it's burning fuel just to maintain high rotation speed without adding meaningful power output. For most gasoline engines, the sweet spot is roughly 1,500 to 2,500 RPM during normal driving. In a manual transmission vehicle, this means shifting up earlier rather than stretching each gear as long as possible. In an automatic, it means using smooth, progressive throttle inputs that let the transmission upshift promptly rather than holding lower gears longer under aggressive throttle. The tachometer on your dashboard is one of the most useful fuel economy tools available to you. Pay attention to it. Number 10 is tire pressure. This is the easiest item on this entire list, and one of the most consistently neglected. According to the Department of Energy, underinflated tires can reduce your gas mileage by up to 3% for every PSI they're below the recommended level. That doesn't sound dramatic until you consider how gradually tires lose pressure. Tires naturally lose approximately 1 psi per month through normal rubber permeability. They lose roughly 1 psi for every 10 °F drop in temperature. If you haven't checked since last summer and it's now winter, your tires could be 5 to 8 psi low without looking noticeably flat. The correct pressure for your tires is on the sticker inside your driver's door jamb, not on the tire sidewall. Check it once a month when the tires are cold. It takes 3 minutes. A quality tire pressure gauge costs $10. This is the highest return on investment maintenance habit in all of vehicle ownership. Number 9 is weight. Everything inside your vehicle has to be moved by the engine. Every pound of unnecessary cargo is weight your engine carries every mile you drive. The DOE estimates that every extra 100 pounds in the vehicle reduces fuel economy by approximately 1%. 1% sounds trivial until you realize how weight accumulates without anyone noticing. Tools that were supposed to go back in the garage. Sports equipment from a season that ended 2 months ago. Sandbags from winter traction. Cases of water that have been rolling around in the trunk. A set of golf clubs that lives in the car full time. It's extremely common for vehicles to be carrying 150 to 200 pounds of stuff that serves no practical purpose on any given drive. Clean out your trunk and back seat. Keep the emergency kit, spare tire, and the things you actually need. Remove everything else. And while you're thinking about weight, if you have a roof cargo box or crossbars on your roof rack that you're not actively using, take them off. The DOE has measured that a large roof cargo box can reduce highway fuel economy by 10 to 25% from aerodynamic drag alone. That's an empty box, just sitting on your roof while you drive to work every day. Number 8 is aerodynamic drag more broadly. Your car was engineered in a wind tunnel to move through air with minimum resistance at highway speeds. Every accessory you add to the exterior disrupts that engineering. Roof racks, cargo carriers, bike mounts, ski racks, all of these increase aerodynamic drag, and the penalty scales dramatically with speed. At 30 miles per hour, the drag from a roof rack is manageable. At 70 miles per hour, it becomes the dominant factor in your fuel consumption because aerodynamic drag increases with the square of your speed. Double your speed, and drag increases by a factor of 4. When you're not actively using rooftop accessories, removing them takes 10 minutes and immediately restores your vehicle's designed aerodynamic profile. On long highway trips, this can meaningfully improve your fuel economy. Number 7 is the air conditioning versus windows debate. And the right answer genuinely depends on your speed, which is why most generic advice on this topic is incomplete. At lower city speeds, generally below 45 to 50 miles per hour, the aerodynamic drag from open windows is relatively small. At those speeds, turning off the AC and rolling down the windows is more fuel efficient, because you're eliminating the compressor load on the engine without adding significant drag. But at highway speeds, open windows create turbulence that increases aerodynamic drag substantially. At 60 to 70 miles per hour, running the AC with windows closed is often more efficient than fighting the wind drag from open windows. The practical rule: windows down in city traffic, AC on, with windows up at highway speed. The crossover point is roughly 45 to 50 miles per hour. Adjust based on conditions and temperature. On a mild day, windows down works well, through a wider speed range. Number 6 is idling. Every minute your engine runs, while the car is stationary, you're burning fuel for 0 forward progress and 0 miles on your odometer. The DOE estimates that idling consumes between 1.25 gallons of fuel per hour, depending on engine size and whether the AC is running. That works out to roughly 4 to 8 cents per minute of idling, which adds up fast when you account for drive-through lines, school pickup lanes, parking lots with the engine running, and warming up the car in the driveway. Modern fuel-injected engines, every car built since the early 1990s, don't need extended warm-up time. Start the engine, wait 30 seconds, and drive gently for the first few minutes. That's all it needs. If you're stopped for more than 60 seconds in a safe location, turning the engine off saves fuel. Many newer vehicles now include automatic stop-start systems that do exactly this at traffic lights. If you've been manually disabling that system because the brief restart feels unusual, you're working against fuel saving, engineering your manufacturer specifically built in. Number 5 is fuel grade. This one is quick and direct. Most vehicles sold in America are designed to run on regular 87-octane gasoline. If your owner's manual specifies regular fuel, using premium 91 or 93 provides zero benefit. Your engine's computer is not calibrated to take advantage of higher octane if the engine wasn't designed for it. You're paying 40 to 50 cents more per gallon for nothing. On the other hand, if your manual says premium required, common in turbocharged engines, and most European vehicles, that specification matters. Consistently using regular in a premium required engine causes the knock sensors to retard ignition timing, which reduces both performance and fuel economy. The net result is that the savings at the pump may be partially offset by reduced efficiency, and you're also running the engine below its design specification. The rule is simple. Use exactly what your owner's manual specifies. Not what's cheaper, not what you assume is better. Number 4 is the air filter. Your engine runs on a precise mixture of air and fuel. The air filter keeps dirt and debris out of the intake system and ultimately out of the engine itself. A severely restricted air filter limits the volume of air entering the engine, which disrupts that mixture and forces the engine management system to compensate in ways that increase fuel consumption. The good news is that air filter replacement is one of the cheapest maintenance items on any vehicle, typically $15 to $30 for the part. Most manufacturers recommend replacing the air filter every 15,000 to 30,000 miles, or once a year, though driving in dusty environments accelerates the need. Check it at every oil change. If it looks dark and dirty when you hold it up to light, replace it. A clean air filter ensures the engine gets the airflow it needs to operate at designed efficiency. Number 3 is the gas cap. This one genuinely surprises people. Modern vehicles have sealed evaporative emission systems, specifically designed to prevent fuel vapor from evaporating out of the fuel system into the atmosphere. The gas cap is a critical seal in that system. A cap that isn't fully tightened. Most caps need to click one or more times to seal properly, allows fuel vapor to escape. A cap with a worn or cracked seal does the same thing. This is actual fuel, leaving your tank as vapor, without moving your car an inch. Beyond the fuel waste. A poorly sealing gas cap can trigger a check engine light because the evaporative emission system runs self-tests, and will flag a pressure loss. The fix is simple. Always tighten your gas cap until it clicks after filling up. And if your check engine light came on and a diagnostic scan points to an evaporative emission system code, P0440, or similar, check the gas cap first, before paying for any other diagnosis. Number 2 is fuel level. Most drivers have a threshold in their head. The fuel warning light comes on, and they'll fill up sometime in the next day or two. Running your tank very low regularly causes 2 problems. First, in most modern vehicles, the fuel pump is located inside the gas tank and uses the fuel itself for cooling. When the tank is consistently low, the pump runs hotter than it should and wears faster over time. Fuel pump replacement typically runs $400 to $1,000, depending on the vehicle. Second, the sediment that naturally accumulates at the bottom of any fuel tank gets drawn into the fuel system more readily when the level is very low. Keeping your tank above a quarter full is a simple habit that protects the fuel pump and keeps sediment away from the injectors. It also prevents the moisture accumulation in a low tank that can cause problems in cold weather. And now, number 1. The habit I've seen drain more fuel than almost any other, and the one that most people never think to question. Unnecessary lane changes in traffic. This sounds minor. It isn't. Here's what actually happens when you're in stop-and-go traffic and constantly moving between lanes, trying to find the faster one. Every lane change requires acceleration to create a gap or match speed in the new lane, followed almost immediately by braking because you've caught up to the traffic in that lane too. You accelerate, you brake. You accelerate, you brake. You spend extra fuel on every change for a gain that research consistently shows is minimal. Studies of urban traffic patterns have found that drivers who frequently change lanes in congested traffic arrive at their destination an average of only 1 to 2 minutes faster than drivers who stay in one lane, sometimes not at all faster. But the fuel cost of all those extra acceleration and braking cycles is real and measurable. The more efficient approach in heavy traffic is to pick a lane and stay in it. Look far enough ahead to see which lanes are genuinely moving and position yourself there early, then stay. Use the anticipation technique from habit number 14. Look ahead, ease off early. Keep the car rolling instead of accelerating and braking. Smooth, consistent lane discipline in stop-and-go traffic is one of the highest impact habits you can develop for urban fuel economy. It also reduces brake wear, reduces stress, and makes you a more predictable, safer driver for the vehicles around you. Here's the bottom line. The EPA and DOE data on driving behavior is consistent. Combining fuel-efficient driving habits can improve your real-world fuel economy by 10 to 40%, depending on your current habits and driving conditions. An AA eco-driving trial with 50 participants found an average fuel saving of 10% from changed driving habits, with the best participant saving 33%, all in real-world conditions. Same cars, same routes. For a driver spending $200 per month on gas, a 20% improvement saves $40 a month, $480 per year, without changing the vehicle, without installing anything, and without buying different fuel. These 14 habits are the complete picture of what's within your control. every time you get behind the wheel. Start with the ones that are easiest for your specific situation. If you do a lot of highway driving, cruise control, and speed discipline make the biggest immediate difference. If you're mostly a city driver, anticipation and smooth acceleration will move the needle most. Check your tire pressure this week. It takes 3 minutes, and the improvement is immediate. Clean out your trunk this weekend. Get in the habit of watching further ahead in traffic. These aren't sacrifices. They're just more deliberate choices about how you use the energy you're already paying for. Make enough of them consistently, and the savings at the pump are real, measurable, and permanent. If this gave you something useful, hit the like button. It helps this channel reach other drivers who are spending more than they should at the pump. Drop a comment, and tell me which of these 14 habits you're going to work on first. I read every single comment. And if you want more practical, data-backed car information with nothing to sell you, subscribe. A lot more is coming.